Deshaun Watson will almost certainly be on the Cleveland Browns roster in 2026, and that sentence lands on the team like a lead pipe wrapped in dollar bills. Uh, think about what that actually means. The Browns are planning to carry a quarterback who, on paper, will count for roughly $80.7 million against the 2026 salary cap. That's not a headline number. That's a headline that eats headlines for breakfast, steals lunch, and refuses to leave the building. It's the largest single-season cap hit in NFL history. The alternative, cutting him before June 1st, hands the Browns $131.2 million in dead money. So yes, they're keeping him. Barring something totally unforeseen, Deshaun Watson stays. That decision is financial triage as much as it is football strategy. When you trade top draft capital and hand a player a fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract, you build a house with that player's name on the deed. Walking away from that house before you've tried to renovate it isn't just messy, it's catastrophic on the balance sheet. Cleveland's accountants and cap gurus ran the math, and in blunt terms, keeping Watson costs a lot less pain than cutting him now. But cheaper doesn't mean painless. Let's be clear about the football calculus. Watson's 2025 was supposed to be a reset. Return from the 2024 Achilles tear, step into the offense, and justify the 3 first-rounders the Browns gave up. In reality, he missed the year after a re-rupture in January, rehabbed like a maniac, and was designated to return to practice this week. Mostly, the reports say, to get him back into football shape for the offseason. Will he actually take a meaningful snap in 2025? That's a long shot. Will he be on the roster in 2026? Almost certainly. The Browns are betting on the latter while hoping for the best with the former. What this does to the team-building picture is brutal. Cleveland already plugged 2 rookies into the season picture. Shedeur Sanders, a 5th-round pick who's been given a real audition, and Dillon Gabriel, whom they spent a 3rd-rounder on. Those 2 have started and struggled, which leaves the Browns in evaluation mode. Do you build around the rookie flashes and draft capital, or do you try to reconcile your books and push to make Watson's final guaranteed season work? The $80.7 million cap charge materially limits how the Browns can add in free agency or extend young talent without creative restructuring, which the team has already used before and will almost certainly use again. Here's the organizational wrinkle, and it's ugly. The money and the narrative don't match. Fans see a season of revolving door quarterbacks and a 3-9 record. Executives and accountants see dollar signs and dead money cliffs. Owners see optics. Remember Jimmy Haslam's big swing and a misquip? But optics don't balance payroll. The result is an emotionally combustible mix. The Browns will keep Watson because the ledger forces their hand, but keeping him doesn't instantly fix the quarterback room or the roster around him. So what practical paths open up for Cleveland this winter? Option 1, keep Watson, restructure creatively, and try to patch the roster with veterans while providing Watson a realistic chance to return as a backup or short-term starter. Option 2, keep Watson because the cap math forces it, but double down on drafting or acquiring a cheap, controllable QB in 2026. The Browns have 2 first-round picks to play with, and that flexibility suddenly looks more valuable than ever. Option 3, the wild card approach. Trade or restructure mid-year if Watson actually returns and shows something useful, but don't count on that. It's the nuclear option that depends on unlikely performance and cooperative trade partners. There's another, less glamorous reality. Watson's presence as a mentor and signal caller in rehab has value now. Reports of him helping both Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel in meetings aren't PR fluff. A veteran presence can accelerate rookie development. If Cleveland's leadership pitches keeping Watson as a short-term teacher and locker room stabilizer, that's a more defensible public story than we couldn't afford to cut him, even if the math is the real motive. Let's not ignore the politics. The Browns owe Watson a full, guaranteed historic contract. Owning that contract is also owning a public reality. The franchise made a massive bet. It failed to produce Super Bowl results, and the evidence has been messy. The franchise could try to monetize Watson's return by trading him if he gets healthy and shows viability. Only who's going to pay that salary? Teams would have to be willing to restructure or eat guarantees. The more likely play is restructuring and spreading cap pain into future years. A classic accountant's triage that delays the problem but rarely makes it disappear. From a fan perspective, this looks like a nightmare. From a front office perspective, it's damage control dressed as patience. But here's the kicker. Patience can be productive if you use it to gather data. Those final 5 games this season and the workouts through the practice window are not meaningless. They produce tape, medical intel, and negotiation leverage. If Watson looks like a competent NFL starter in practice and in the rare in-season cameo, Cleveland's decision looks prescient. If he doesn't, they still avoided $131.2 million in dead money this year, which, while grotesque, is a pragmatic outcome. Where does this leave Shadir Sanders and Dylan Gabriel? Developmentally, they've been auditioning on a moving stage. Keeping Watson doesn't kill their futures. It complicates them. The Browns can still draft a QB in 2026, develop the rookie behind Watson, and then transition. Or they can pivot entirely and commit to a rookie now. Either road has cost, and the Watson cap charge forces the Browns' hand to be clever with draft capital, contract restructures, and timing. Here's the final ugly truth. Deshaun Watson's deal is not just a poor contract. It's now a strategic anchor. It limits options, concentrates debate, and defines what risk really looks like for the franchise. Cleveland's choice to keep him is the least painful path around a very bad contract. It buys time, preserves roster flexibility in certain corners, and avoids an immediate cap apocalypse. But it also means the Browns will carry a headline-sized number into each offseason for years to come. If you want a neat thesis, the Browns are choosing fiscal practicality over narrative closure. They're saying, in essence, we'll shoulder the mess on paper so we can avoid catastrophic dead money and then try to solve the football side with draft capital and coaching. That's defensible. It's not glamorous. It's not satisfying for fans who want clarity. But in a world of guaranteed contracts and brutal cap cliffs, it's often the only realistic play. End image. The Browns walk into the 2026 offseason with Watson's name on the cap and 2 first-round picks in their pocket. It's a split-screen shot, a franchise carrying the cost of a blockbuster mistake while still holding the very tools you'd need to fix it. Which side wins out, the debt or the draft, is the story Cleveland has to write next. Deshaun Watson is back on the practice field, or at least he's back under the microscope, and the Browns are quietly making a roster decision that will echo through Cleveland's cap sheets for years. After months of rehab, setbacks, and headlines, the short version is this. The team expects Watson to still be on the Browns roster for 2026, and that comes with a staggering cap charge that shapes everything the franchise can do next offseason. ESPN.com. Let's start with the immediate. Cleveland opened Watson's 21-day practice window, which means he's out of PUP for now, and the team has 3 weeks to either activate him to the 53-man roster or put him on season-ending injured reserve. Practically, that designation is as a step in getting him back into football shape more than a firm bid to return to game action this year. The Browns' official communications and multiple outlets confirm the move and emphasize it's a measured medical-first approach. Reuters behind that move is the much bigger financial reality. Watson's contract situation is brutal math. His 2026 cap charge is being reported around the $80 to $81 million mark, making it one of the largest single-year numbers in NFL history. That figure, whether you see it as $80.7 million or $81.7 million in different reports, isn't a rounding error. It's the size of a roster problem. Teams don't carry numbers like that unless they're prepared to accept the consequences. So Cleveland's decision to plan on keeping him isn't purely about belief in a comeback. It's also about cap calculus and the cost of walking away. ESPN.com. Here's why the Browns seem to be choosing the path of least financial pain. Releasing Watson